Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, before we jump into the lower degree counts here, what I'm going to be discussing is some of the higher time frame things that we're still looking for. I'm still treating this move as a bigger A, a B, and a C, where we're looking for a 5-wave structure to the downside here, looking for this target range of this 23,646 to this 25,360 level. Now we have already hit this higher zone here, so we need to just be respectful that, if we do start to see price looking to break back, particularly above this high here of this 28,142, we could start to see some other structures starting to develop here to the upside. Now if we do start to see something like this, I will be looking out for this idea that we could be looking for a more complex correction looking to play out in this area here, where this whole move here becomes an A wave. We get a 3-wave move to the upside. Now this 3-wave move could either potentially look to target out this 29,689 to this 28,024 level, where we see a smaller 3-wave structure looking to develop in a more sideways action here. Now, or alternatively, what we could see is a bigger overshooting B wave, where we see price looking to push back up into these higher ranges of this 33,548 to this 31,000 zone. Now, if we did have to see something like this, this would all be looking at this as a bigger corrective pattern, where we look to actually come back up here, sweep these highs, and then start to see a bigger 5-wave move to the downside here, looking to sweep these lows again. So this would be quite an interesting idea here, because effectively this would be looking to, push some of this liquidity above here and then take some of this liquidity below this zone at a later point, looking for a more aggressive sell-off before looking for that possibility of continuation to the upside. Now there is always the potential here that we could start to actually develop something more bearish off of these highs here, where either we are looking to actually extend out, where this becomes a 1-2 and a 1-2, and then we start to look to push down in a bigger 5-wave structure. Or alternatively, we could also see something along these lines, where what we have here is that this is A, B, and C into this low, and then we're looking for this as a potential B wave to the upside. Now, this move here has done enough to complete this as A, B, and then we could be looking for a deeper C wave, in which case what we would then be looking for here is actually looking to push down towards this 22,264. So this is something we need to be careful of here, if we do either push up in 3 waves here, we could still be within a corrective move and we still have to come back down. The only way we're going to confirm this is that if off these lows here we start to develop nice clean 5-wave structure, which starts to break back above some of these highs, and ideally the invalidation of this 31,804. Until we do that, the count is looking more poised to the downside, so we need to just be respectful of that idea. Now within this, what we were saying here is that internally we are looking for a 5-wave move, where we count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the common 5th wave target is actually lowered down here, 24,514 to this 23,495. And what we'd be saying here is that we need a 5-wave structure, but it is possible to count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into this low, and this does come quite close to the 1-to-1 of the wave 1 that we have up here. So I'm just being mindful that we could still start to see some kind of a bounce to the upside here, but we need to start getting back above first this channel and then back above this high of this 28,166 for more confidence within this idea. Now we also need to be careful that there isn't something like some extension going on here, where this actually becomes another 1-2, and we could be looking for a deeper drop. So for as long as we stay below this 28,142 level, we need to be careful of this more bearish idea here, where what we have is a potential for 1-2, and we could still see a bigger move to the downside here, looking to push us towards this zone of this 21,858 for confirmation, given the current structure that we have here. Now if we are looking at this wave 2, it is also possible we could start to form a more complex wave 2, where we get a bigger wave 2 here, and then we still look to push down after seeing one more push to the upside. But what I would be expecting is that if we are looking at this as a wave 2, that this 786 up here towards this 27,443 level is going to be the highest we'd really want to see this come, because as a wave 2, the most common zone is between this 50% and the 786. If we start to move back above this 786 and we get a sustained break above this level, and and or actually cross this line, then we would look to invalidate this idea of a bigger push to the downside. Now, it is also possible, if we are looking for this as a C wave, that we could be looking for something like a diagonal pattern here. And if I come in a little bit closer, what we'd be actually saying within this idea here is that instead of getting a simple 5-wave move, we have this as A, B, and C into this low. Now, if we do have this as just a 3-wave move here, we could then have this as our wave 2. Invalidation of this idea of a diagonal, once again, is up here at this 28,142. The key difference within this idea is that instead of looking for this to become 1, 2 and have a bigger third wave, what we'd be saying is we're looking for this as effectively A, B, and then looking for a C wave. Now, the 1-to-1 given our current high over here would actually be this 23,804. So if we do see price do something like this, A, B, and C, this could actually align with the idea of seeing a diagonal pattern in this zone. And what we'd then be looking for would be another 3-wave move up and another 3-wave move to the downside. Now, this wave 3 is not allowed to cross this 22,397. A breakdown below that level would actually invalidate this as a diagonal and would rather mean that it's more likely that effectively we're getting a 5-wave structure off this zone and not a 3-wave move. Now, we could potentially look to push down towards this 1-to-1 level. If we do overshoot it, some other targets would be this 1236 and this 1382 as possible zones that we could look to as actually targets for this move to the downside. Now, it is possible here that we could have this as 1, 2 and this is already completed, or A, B and it's already completed. And then what I'm looking out for here is that effectively what we could then have is that internally here we could argue this is 1, 2, 3, triangle for 4, and then a 5th wave to the downside. It is also possible here that we could just argue this is a 3-wave move, and then we have this as a corrective structure. But within this idea of looking for this 5-wave move down, I'd be saying that this is actually our wave 1 into this point, and what we are looking for is effectively having this as an A, B, and a C to the upside. Now, it is possible that we could be forming something like a flat here, where this is going to actually sweep this low here of this 25,570, and we could see this move actually become ABC, in which case what we'd look for as a common target, if this is going to become something like a flat correction, would actually be lower down here between this zone. So let's flat rejection, there we go. So if we are looking at this as A, B, and C, and we're actually going to see something like a flat, we could see this B wave actually look to push down into this 25,570 to this 25,395 area before seeing a pushback to the upside here, where we see this C wave come in. If this B wave or this wave 2 is completed into this high, then what we would be looking for is actually just seeing a direct sell-off. This move down is looking corrective at the moment, but if we start to see price looking to push down in a bigger way here, what I'm going to be looking out for is effectively off of this high, if we do start to see a move down towards this 24,654, and that would be potentially saying that we have something like this is 1, 2, we might even get another 1, 2 here, and then we start to see more impulsive price action to the downside, looking for this zone. If we do see something like this where we push down towards this 1.618, this would align with the idea that we're actually starting to break down from this point here, where this move is more than likely then going to be an ABC, unless we start to get some internal extension which looks to push us down towards this this lower target here. Like I said, you know, our impulsive point for this is this 21,858, so it's quite a long way to go here. So it would mean that there would have to be some extension within that move, but this would tie in quite nicely with the idea of the diagonal, where we see this as A, B, and C. So that's why I'm looking out for the potential that, you know, if we do start to break down here in a 5-wave structure, this could actually align with that ABC pattern. But until we actually take the lows here, we need to just be very careful, because there is still some potential for you know, a pushback to the upside here, where we still have one more push up. Now, we were talking about this idea saying, you know, this could be an A wave, we're looking for this as a B, and then we're looking for the C wave up. We came up, hit this 1, 2, 3, 6, and we've reacted to the downside. Now, if we are going to be looking at this move just as a corrective structure, we need to just be open to the interpretation that, you know, this might not be completed either as a correction. So if this is completed here, we'd be expecting a 5-wave move to the downside. looking to break down, substantially below these lows that we've got here of this 25,333. If, however, we are looking at a bigger corrective structure here, what we could see is something along these lines, where effectively we look at this as just a three-wave move. This is a B, and a C up into this high here. Even though it does look like a triangle to me, it fits the idea of a triangle, and then this as a correction down. But sometimes these things can fool us, so just being open to the idea that this could still get bigger as a wave 2, where this becomes A, and we could actually see this become A, B, C. Now the idea with this effectively is that we've come down deep enough that this could be a corrective move completed at this 0.786. If we do look to continue to hold this zone, we can potentially look for the C wave to the upside, looking to push us up towards 26,683. If, however, we start to break down in a more impulsive way, what I'm going to be looking out for here is that effectively this could become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and look to push us down into this lower white target box, which is sitting at this 25,333 to this 24,921. Now, the idea with this is that if we do form this as a bigger A, B, and a C pattern, this would still align with the idea that this could become 1, 2, and then we could still look to push down, or this could become A, B, and we could still look to push down. So the only way that we're really going to start to, invalidate these ideas is if we start to push back above these highs here of this 28,153 level. Like I said, until we actually break back above this high, we need to just be respectful that the count is leaning more towards that bearish count here. Now, we do have potential here of some bullish counts. Now, I'm going to just go over the ones that we were talking about previously. We were talking about this possibility that we could have this as 1, 2, and then another 1, 2 here. But we actually came down and took this low of this 25,701. So this is now invalidated, and effectively this has also invalidated this secondary count here. As we can see, we're saying, there is a potential here, but we need to rally off this low that we had over here. And we're saying, it came down quite deep. It's not looking very promising, and we actually invalidated that idea. Now, it is still possible that if we're going to count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that we could actually still have this as 1, 2, and then looking for a move up, or alternatively A, B, and C. Now that would mean that we had this as A, this is B, and then this is a C wave as a running flat. Now the problem with this is that it's not very common to get running flats, which the C wave here doesn't actually break the origin of this A wave over here. So it is less likely, but I'm still just keeping an eye on this because, price has been respecting this level quite well. We need to see whether it continues to do so. If we were looking for some bullish counts out of here, the only way that we could really do so would be saying that within this count here, either we have this as 1, all of this becomes a wave 2, and invalidation of this would be coming below this 25,339 level. And what we'd then be saying is that this whole move here is a correction, and we're looking for this price action to start to rally to the upside. Now, if we do look to rally to the upside here, there's two areas of interest I'd be looking for within this idea. Would be this 1-to-1, which would be here at this 26,379, which would align with coming back into these highs here. The alternative of this is that if we, like I said, looking for a bullish count off these lows, what we would then be saying is that we need to move past this 26,891 level to actually get confirmation of a bigger move here, where this would then become 1, 2, we'd get a third wave, we'd be looking for a fourth, and then could potentially look to push up into this higher level here of this 27,212 to this 27,013 level. And like I said, this is not the most high confidence count at the moment. We'll have to see exactly how price reacts around this level. The alternative to this that we could potentially see is something along these lines, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once again, this is a lower confidence move, but still alive as long as we stay above this 25,372 level. What we could then see is that effectively this becomes our wave 1, this becomes 2, this becomes 3. We're looking for a fourth wave into this low. Now the problem that I have with this is that we'd have to say that effectively this is A, B, and C, and this didn't quite reach that 0.618 of this move to the downside like this, but it is still a possibility, because we've actually taken this low here. So what I would want to see here for confirmation, or that we're forming something like this as an expanding diagonal, would be that our wave 5 would have to cross this 26,651. These are lower confidence counts, and like I said, until we actually start to see these moves moving to the upside, the likelihood is still rather that we aren't finished our price action to the downside. So these are just additional counts that I'm tracking here in case we do start to see price holding these lows, because we do have some higher lows here, some higher highs more locally. It'll be interesting to see whether we continue to do this. If we do, we could start to step through some of these levels and start to see some rallies. But until we actually see this price action, follow through, I'm going to be focused more on that downside. But like I said, as long as we continue to set these higher lows here and these higher highs more locally, we can potentially look for that possibility of a rally to the upside. The idea here would be I'd want to see 3 waves to the upside, looking to push us above this zone and potentially looking to interact with this trend line, which would be somewhere in the vicinity of this 26,755 directly above us. So need to keep an eye on that and see how the waves actually progress here. But until we actually break this idea of the bearish patterns to the downside, especially this one more locally here, where we could be looking for this as a 1 and a 2. We need to just be very careful that until we actually break back above 26,445, we could start to see the price actually drop off in a much more aggressive way here, looking for this white wave 3 to play out. Coming in here and having a look at the daily CPR lines, what we can see is that we do have our central lines here, which are printed lower than the previous day, giving us an initial bearish bias here, which is between this 25,828 and this 25,796. So at the moment, we are currently below these levels. If we continue to remain below these, we do have the potential for price to come back down and test this 25,598 level and the previous day low, which is sitting here towards this 25,569. Now, this would align with that idea that if we're going to get something like a flat correction where this becomes A, this becomes B, and we see a little bit of a rally up here in a C wave, or alternatively that we start to break down from this level where this becomes 1, 2, and then we start to see a more significant drop to the downside. Now, if we do look to move down more today, our targets for today would be 25,349, 25,134, and this 24,889 and 9 as possible downside targets. If, however, we start to see some reversals to the upside here, we'll be keeping an eye on the previous day high of this 26,036 and this 26,058 as our R1 line. Other targets to the upside for today would be 26,277, we have 26,514, and this 26,739 as potential upside targets for today. Now, this would align more with the idea that we have something like this as A, B, and C. We see a little bit of a rally, but like I said, until we actually take these highs here, we need to be careful of that more bearish idea playing out. Now, moving over here onto the weekly pivots, what we can see is that we've printed a lower weekly CPR lines here. Now, these are quite tightly spread, which could indicate that we could see some volatility coming in. We are currently underneath these lines, and effectively, as long as we stay below this 25,908 to this 25,863, we can potentially be looking for price to start to break to the downside. Targets to the downside for this week is this 25,325, 24,819, and this 24,260 as potential downside targets. Other targets that we have here, if we do manage to reclaim these central lines, is to the upside 26,395, 26,956, and this 27,471 as potential upside targets. Now, this would align more with the idea that we are looking to have a bigger corrective structure to the upside here, where we could still be looking for a bigger move up into this potential rejection area here. The 786 is aligning quite nicely with this higher structure over here, so we'll have to keep an eye on this to see if we do get some interactions with some of these levels. Also, this golden pocket is aligning quite nicely with this R2 for this week, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on those levels if we do see price looking to react to the upside. Now, coming over here and having a look at the monthly CPR lines, we can see that we still haven't had an interaction with these central lines here. So there is always the potential that because we haven't had an interaction, price could be gravitated up into these zones. which is why I'm still looking out for that possibility. We could see a higher corrective structure forming here. It doesn't have to interact with these levels, but sometimes these zones act as magnets for price action. Now, we do have this level here, which could be resistance at 26,524, 27,129, and this 27,684 as potential upside targets for this month, where we could find resistance. If we do, however, just see price action looking to fall away from these levels, downside targets for this month is 24k. We have this level here of this 22,026 and this lower zone of this 18,881 as potential downside targets for this month. Now, if we do manage to actually see price looking to get back above these central lines here, obviously it would be then looking to potentially invalidate this idea of a continuation and a sell-off to the downside. What we do have as targets for this month to the upside would be this 29,061, 32,184, and this 34,139 as potential upside targets for this month. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these CPR lines to see if we do see price looking to move back into these central ones on the monthly. If we do, these could be potential resistance, aligning with that idea of that continuation to the downside. If we stay below this low, we could always just see, you know, that direct sell-off opportunity coming on here. But yeah, we need to keep an eye on these zones. If we do see price move into these pivots, we can see it look to actually have a reaction. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.